I am so excited for this spa day. Candles lit, music on, hot tub warm and ready. And then my chronic hives come back. Again, in the middle of my spa day. What a wet blanket. Looks like another spell of itchy red skin. If you have chronic spontaneous urticaria or CSU, there is a different treatment option. Hives during my next spa day? Not if I can help it. Learn more at treatmyhives.com.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Commercial Insurance. Business owners, meet Progressive Insurance. They make it easy to get discounts on commercial auto insurance and find coverages to grow with your business. Quote in as little as 8 minutes at progressivecommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company. Coverage provided and serviced by affiliated and third-party insurers. Discounts and coverage selections not available in all states or situations.
I need to be very clear, right? I can't fucking stand wrestling. I have no interest in it at all. And I came across this film originally. I think I probably saw it on Netflix. It was just a lazy Sunday afternoon. One of my kids put it on and I loved it.
I feel like it's a movie that should have more of a following than it does, because, I mean, there are so many sort of British underdog sports comedies like this. But this is one of the finer examples. It ticks off all of the cliches that you want from the genre, but does it with such a specificity.
Hey everyone, joining Flixwatcher today, we have Stephen.
Hello.
We have Alistair.
Hello.
And Kobe.
Howdy.
And we're going to be talking about Fighting With My Family.
Thank you as always to the mighty people for their mighty tunes, and thanks to Ben from Rockwood Audio for all his editing, love, care and attention. Please remember to head over to Spotify and Apple Podcasts and give us a 5-star rating and a massively glowing review, and join the conversation with us on social media. On Twitter we are at FlixWatcherPod, and everywhere else we are at FlixWatcher, except for TikTok, where we kind of not sure if we're on it or not.
Hello film fans, welcome to this episode of Flixwatcher Podcast. Our guests today are Stephen and Alistair. Over to you please, Alistair, to say hello to our listeners and tell them a little bit more about who you are and what you do, please.
So hello, I am Alistair Ryder. I work for Zavvi by day, interviewing the great and good of the film and TV world and various writing about the latest releases. And then at night, I'm a freelance film and TV critic, which means I get to criticise the exact same things I was interviewing them about. So it's great. I get the best of both worlds, hobnobbing with the stars and then telling them that their work is shit.
I always laugh at that because as we record this, the latest Superman movie by James Gunn has come out, and I listened to Empire film and know those guys quite well. They gave it 2 stars, but then also interviewing David Corenswet, and you're kind of like,
Hope he's not read the review yet.
You know, James Gunn and the guys are big boys and girls. They are happily getting close to 1 billion for this film, I'm sure. So I think they'll be fine.
Yeah, 1 2-star reviews never hurt anybody.
No, it's still 84% on Rotten Tomatoes. So they're probably just
it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah. Who's great and who's good?
Who's great and who's good?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't want to divide people. I mean, I hate name dropping people that I've interviewed. It's like when I'm meeting people socially, my fiance will always just be like, so my partner's a film journalist and he's interviewed these people, and will be nudging me to start name dropping. And the name that we've sort of agreed is this the go-to, universally, this is the best name that you could have to interview is Steven Spielberg.
Fucking hell.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
That was quite early in my sort of job at Zavvi, because I interviewed him for West Side Story, and it was pretty much, it was one of the earliest big name interviews I did, and it was kind of nerve-wracking. It was over Zoom, which was, because it was still in the height of the pandemic, but it was the first interview I think I ever did where for the first minute or so, it felt surreal. It felt like I was having an out-of-body experience speaking to somebody that famous. And now I feel like I'm sort of more accustomed to it. But you never want to lose that part of you, that even if you're interviewing some people for something you didn't really like, the fact that I'm getting to speak to them at all is something I'm pretty grateful for.
I think Helen O'Hara from Empire, her great white whale is Steven Spielberg. He's the one that she needs to interview for her life to be complete. But I get it. So when I used to listen to Adam and Joe podcast when it was on Six Music, and one episode had Roger Moore on, and Joe Cornish lost his shit.
Yeah.
And it's still in my mind, it's one of the funniest things ever, when he just he had like a brain fart. And on the first episode, they showed that they'd edited it down, but Adam was like so made up by this that I think they played the whole episode where Joe's brain kind of melted, like he was speaking to Roger Moore. So I get it. And this is Joe Cornish. Was he working with Steven Spielberg at that point?
Because Joe Cornish, I believe, co-wrote Tintin, right? Yeah. So, no, this was like because I interviewed Spielberg for West Side Story, which I believe is not a Joe Cornish original, that one. But, yeah.
Stephen, who are you?
How can I follow that up? So I'm Stephen Palmer. I'm an amateur podcaster. I'm doing it for a number of years. 2 podcasts, really. The Asian Cinema Film Club, where me and my co-host talk about cinema from Southeast Asia with a recent exploration to world cinema. Basically, its subtitles are us is our thing. And I'm also the co-host of Why This Film's series on the Barbie cinematic universe. So I'm the king of eclecticism.
The BCU.
The BCU. That is a thing, by the way. In the fandom, that is what it is called.
Is it? Isn't there quite a few like Tinkerbell films as well? Is that the next?
I imagine so, but it's not the same. And we don't count Bratz or Monster High. It is just Barbie movies.
Just Barbie. I mean, yeah, thanks. That's just something I'll never watch.
Yeah, you're doing the work so none of us have to.
Exactly, yeah.
Do you know what? You say that as if we were the only podcast that did it. We're not even the only podcast that's done this, so it's...
Does not surprise me in any way, shape or form. This world is crazy.
Don't knock it till you've tried it.
We're talking about your choice today, Stephen, which is Fighting With My Family. Can you tell us, first of all, why you chose it? And then we'll give you 60 seconds for the synopsis.
I chose it because I'm desperately in love with Florence Pugh. I'm not in a creepy stalker way, but you know what I mean. In a cinematic way. And I really wanted to pick a Florence Pugh movie, and I really actually wanted to pick Lady Macbeth, but it had left Netflix. But don't worry, this is Netflix.
Was it on Netflix?
It was, yes.
It was, yeah.
But never mind. But I have seen this film before, and this is actually the film where I first came across Florence Pugh. So I thought, do you know what? There's a lot of very worthy and meaningful films that probably get talked about on this podcast. I think what you really need is a British sports feel-good drama.
And the timer starts now.
Okay, Florence Pugh plays Saraya Bevis, who is from she's from a small town in England called Norwich. She's probably a city, actually. And she comes from a family of people who are all wrestlers. And when I say wrestlers, I mean like that cheap and nasty travelling circus where 5 people come and watch and people put drawing pins in their head to draw blood. It turns out that she's pretty good and she ends up on the path to being a WWE superstar. So it's based on a true story. Stars Florence Pugh. It also has various other British greats like Nick Frost as her father, Lena Headey as her mother, and then obviously, as Americans have to be involved, Vince Vaughn turns up as her coach, and Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, appears as himself, and he also put lots of money into it to have the film made. How am I doing? And directed by Stephen Merchant of The Office fame.
Yeah, well, there you go.
Very nice.
Very nice. You missed Jack Lowden.
I did miss Jack Lowden, yes.
Which is definitely interesting. So from what I understand, The Rock was filming somewhere in England, and the documentary was on Channel 4, and I think it's like 40 minutes long. It's not that long at all. I watched it. It's quite interesting. It's always great to see the other side to the kind of story. And it was like, holy shit, this is a story I need to make happen. I can't remember how I got tied with Stephen Merchant.
Well, they worked together, I think, on The Tooth Fairy. I don't know how he then thought, I want this man to write and direct this film, but that's where they met.
Fair play. Why not?
I need to be very clear, right? I can't fucking stand wrestling. I have no interest in it at all. My co-host, Elwood, every week tries to get me involved when we record in some conversation about wrestling, and I have no interest in it at all. And he likes like Japanese wrestling and local UK wrestling and WWE, and he'll always try and get me interested. And I think we're going to see one of his comments about it later. And I came across this film originally. I think I probably saw it on Netflix. It was just a lazy Sunday afternoon. One of my kids put it on and I loved it. But I do love this kind of slightly amped up sports biography film, but this one just happens to be about wrestling. I'm also a huge fan of films that are based in the UK and that highlight areas other than London or Manchester or Liverpool.
You should watch 28 Years Later. So
Which I probably will. And the fact that it's set in Norwich, where people are doing their best to put on Norwich accents, I also found rather charming.
Where's Richard? Oh, it's from the West Country, isn't he, Stephen Merchant?
Stephen Merchant's from Bristol, isn't he? Or somewhere like that, yeah.
The accents aren't too dissimilar, I guess. But anyway, yeah, I'm not going to go down the accent route there.
Yeah, I don't know. You're going to get yourself a lot of hate.
Yeah, sorry. Alistair, what do you think?
So this was my second time seeing this. It wasn't a film that I watched in the cinema. It was a film that I watched in 2019, in like the last few weeks of the year, where you feel like you have to catch up with every single movie that someone's recommended to you that you didn't get around to watching at the time. And I had no expectations for this whatsoever. I mean, it was Florence Pugh's big breakout year because like Little Women and Midsommar were both 2019 as well. And this was just sort of like the other one. And, you know, I like Stephen Merchant as a comedian, as a comedy writer, but I just couldn't get past the fact that it was an underdog story about wrestling. So I just didn't get to it until, you know, I finally threw in the towel and gave it a watch. And I was just utterly charmed by it the first time. And rewatching it now, you know, it wasn't a film that I had really thought about much in the few years since seeing it. And I was just utterly charmed all over again. Yeah, I feel like it's a movie that should have more of a following than it does, because, I mean, there are so many sort of British underdog sports comedies like this, but this is one of the finer examples. It ticks off all of the cliches that you want from the genre, but does it with such a specificity about it that makes it feel fresh.
Helen?
I'd seen this before purely because I went through a phase of seeing what Florence Pugh films were on Netflix, and this was on Netflix, and watched it and thought it was very likeable, a few chuckles, and loved her in this. And kind of like had a little bit of a nostalgia to when me and my brother used to watch wrestling in the 90s and basically tried to wrestle ourselves on the sofa and predictably caused chaos in the living room with the sofa and cushions and things. I haven't seen the TV doc. I've noted a few kind of liberties in the story. But yeah, you know, you don't get many films that are set in Norwich. So it's always a pleasure to see Norwich represented, apart from Alan Partridge. But yeah, it's a breeze. It's not very long. I can't remember how long it is, but it's a short one as well. Florence Pugh's great. Like, when isn't she great? Let's face it.
We've had a brace of Norwich-based films, and we've had Alpha Papa. What are the shortcomings that you've picked up, Helen?
It's mainly kind of, this film cuts out quite a lot of her rise to fame, and it kind of makes it seem like it was quite an overnight thing, and it misses out like quite a big period in kind of like training, and the fight where she wins makes it out as being like a complete unknown and coming out for the first time, where in reality she'd already been fighting quite a lot. So that's kind of like the biggest one. Vince Vaughn is not a real character. He's probably based on a couple of different people. I was surprised that she did dye her hair and get a fake tan. That did actually happen, although as someone who has dyed your hair, you cannot go box blonde from being black overnight. So while she did do it, I don't think that happened overnight, because it just would have gone yellow. But yeah, so there's that. And also apparently Zach wasn't really that bothered about not being picked. He didn't throw a hissy fit and go and beat up some locals in the pub. Apparently he just kind of like shrugged his shoulders and went, all right then. But yeah, we've talked about this before, a bit of creative license on that.
I mean, all those things are fine. I think that all those things are fair play within the context of a film. It's got to compress it.
Yeah, they also didn't make clear that Ray was only a half-brother. There's some other strange, not strange, but there is absolutely, as Helen says.
There's a sister as well who isn't mentioned at all in this, who doesn't wrestle.
Again, if you have two siblings plus one is in prison that comes out versus four siblings, that just makes it like really unwieldy as a film.
Of course.
They're not the ones to care about. I did see the documentary, like I said, and I found it quite interesting. Because when I was a kid, it was Big Daddy initially.
Giant haystacks.
Yeah, that's what Giant haystacks. And it's just a really weird kind of like, now I think back to it, it's just like, what the fuck were we doing? Watching this kind of crappy-ish looking wrestling on a Saturday afternoon.
And we paid to watch it as well. Can you remember? Pay for view used to be like
I didn't pay for it.
£20.
What are you
Oh,
talking
the
about?
big fights.
Are you talking about WWE?
Yeah.
Or are you talking about this?
Oh, I'm thinking about probably WWE.
Yeah, you're thinking of like
WWE.
World of Sport on a Saturday morning, aren't you?
Yeah,
When
that's right, yeah.
Dickie Davis, where ITV didn't have any real sports,
Yeah.
so they had to have wrestling, and it made like Big Daddy and Giant Haystacks and Kendo Nagasaki.
Yeah. Made them big
For somebody who
stars.
doesn't like wrestling, I just suddenly know a lot about it, don't I? The other thing which dragged me to this is there's a Louis Theroux documentary back when he did, I think, World Weekends, where he looks at that kind of indie wrestling scene and
And you had guys who were proper cutting themselves with like razor blades and stuff.
That's right. And it felt like a really crappy British version of that. Or even crappier British version of a really crappy thing. That kind of charmed me as well. But you can have your crappy wrestling, but we can do it better.
But it's good. I like it. I love Nick Frost. He's probably the best thing in the How to Train Your Dragon live, quote unquote, reboot. Lena Headey has got an eternal pass for Game of Thrones to me. Jack Lowden, we've had him in Caliber. It was probably the first time I remember seeing him. Now, in one of my favourite TV shows ever, in Slow Horses. He's a bit of a vanilla character in Slow Horses, but he's like the steady Eddie in it, and he does a really good job in it. In this, I was like, you don't look like a wrestler. That's the kind of main thing that took me out of it, because when they all lined up, when they went to the O2 to train with Vince Vaughn and like show their skills, there's maybe one guy who's like, okay, he could potentially be a wrestler. No one else, including Jack Lowden, for someone who wanted this since he's 3 years old, I was like, you don't look like a wrestler. I don't know what to say, mate. But, he's a good actor, so he kind of gets away with being a good actor, but also he didn't look like he could have been a wrestler. So
I'm not sure any of them did.
But doesn't he not look like he could have been a wrestler from Norwich, though?
Well, it looks like he could have been a wrestler for Norwich, but not in the WWE, is my point. He could have been certainly doing what he did in Norwich. Fine.
But that is kind of the point, isn't it? That's what Vince Vaughn points out. He says, you're a journeyman. You're never going to be a star. Or he doesn't say it to him.
You're not going to be WWE, though, yeah. You haven't got what it takes.
He's actually quite good at it, because he's the emotional core of the movie. You're right, I didn't highlight him at the beginning because I was desperate to pick out everybody else. But I think, as much as I love Florence Pugh, without the Zach character, her character doesn't make any sense.
We've had Florence Pugh in quite a few films. Just going to scroll down and pick them off quickly, which is surprising. As we've recorded this, we've also recorded Don't Worry, Darling. I'm not sure when this is going to be coming out or not. Then we've had Little Women, Midsommar, and also... No, is that it?
I think so.
Oh, no. Yeah, that's it.
She hasn't got a huge filmography. Yeah.
Oh, no. What I'm thinking is, I was just thinking that Oppenheimer's just come to Netflix as we record. That's probably what was in my head. But she hasn't actually done that many films, but she's in Black Widow, Hawkeye, so she's in the Marvel's universe, which means she's got suddenly a bigger profile.
Yeah.
Little Drummer Girl, so that was quite a big profile.
Lady Macbeth and The Wonder.
Falling, I remember.
Have all been on Netflix, but they're not there at the moment. And also June 2, she was in June 2. Massive film, small part, massive film. And We Live in Time has actually just been added to Netflix as well. So she's around.
But if you watch something like The Falling, which is her first ever performance, right? I think she's at sixth form when she's doing it. It's an all right film, but it's clearly a film made for Maisie Williams to star.
Yeah.
And she steals it. Absolutely steals it. And she's only in half the bloody movie. And I think she hasn't been in a lot. You're absolutely right, Alistair. You brought up that this is the lesser film of that year, right? This is Little Women and Midsommar. I think Midsommar is one of the greatest horror films of all time. It's just certainly folk horror movies. And she's magnificent in that. Little Women, obviously, is magnificent. And then there's this, which is real, you really said it well, it's like comfort food for me.
Yeah, we're getting 3 flavours of Florence Pugh in 2019.
And they are nothing like it. You can't say that she is, a stereotype as that kind of thing. I mean, I'd never have thought, she looks about 5 foot tall in this film, but she doesn't look out of place either.
No.
I mean, she does Little Women the same year, and then she's playing like 8 years old at one point. The height, it works to advantage in so many places. She could be the scrappy underdog fighter, and she can be a literal child.
So most people see it first in Lady Macbeth, because I saw The Falling in the cinema. But when I saw... Lady when you see a film poster and that, transfixes you. One of them, which is a film that Helen hates, is... What's that? City of Stars?
La La Land.
Yeah. So So when I saw the La La Land poster, I was like, fucking hell, I need to see that film. That poster looks astonishing. It's the one where they're dancing and Emma Stone's got the yellow dress on in Hollywood Hills with the purple backdrop. And I just thought, that looks fucking amazing. And also like the Lady Macbeth poster and every shot in that film, I think the way that the shot is probably greater than some of its parts, but it's still an astonishing film to look at. And for such a small film is great. And you're like, well, she's got something, this kid, basically.
I think my original view is she just feels like a British version of Jennifer Lawrence, right? It's like, because they've got that similar kind of voice, that kind of husky kind of voice. And I always thought, oh, she's just a British, but no, she's more than that. She's Florence Pugh.
Well, not more than that. I mean, Jennifer Lawrence is great.
Oh, nothing wrong with Jennifer Lawrence, but you know what I mean? She had that kind of, that's purely on the voice and that's purely inside my head that's going on. But yeah, I really hope that her Marvelification doesn't stop her doing other really interesting stuff as well.
Maybe you should join, Stephen. We've got a film podcast, UK Film Podcasters WhatsApp group. I posted recently that Scarlett Johansson is now the highest paid, well, she's the most bankable actor, recently surpassing Samuel L. Jackson. And one person there was like, oh, she's not going to do the indie films anymore. I was like, I mean, just let her be successful. But she could be on that route, Florence Pugh. She could be on that trajectory in like 10 years' time. She does the big films and she does the smaller ones as well.
I mean, Scarlett Johansson still gets foot into indies in the sense that she's in a couple of scenes in a Wes Anderson film every other year. Yeah, so, that keeps her grounded. And then she can go back to, fighting dinosaurs.
Helen, I'll ask your thoughts on this.
On this film or Scarlett Johansson's box office success? I mean, I do enjoy Scarlett Johansson in films that aren't Marvel films, if I'm honest. Yeah, I love Florence Pugh. I think she is quite often the best thing in a lot of films that she's in, and not always the films match her quality. But yeah, I think she's just about believable as a wrestler in this, even if she is maybe a little bit short. I mean, as believable as wrestling can be, I don't really know how it works. Do they say at the beginning when they're training who's going to hit each other in the face and who's going to win? Is it that choreographed? I don't know. I don't really care.
I don't think it's quite that. I think they know who's going to win.
Yeah.
But I think all the moves are choreographed in the sense that if we do this, we know what's going to happen. And it's like snooker. They're playing several goes ahead. So wrestling is fixed, but wrestling also is an incredible athletic endeavour. I don't want to, even though I don't like it.
Oh, yeah. There is a lot of training that goes on. I mean, I would not want to be hit in the face for money.
And even just the early scenes played for comedy where Nick Frost is on the phone he's speaking to one of his clients about you okay with getting hit in the bollocks?
Where did you take a dustbin lid to the face? Yeah.
I mean, it's
hammer to the bollocks.
It's very funny. It's very juvenile, but it is also very good at setting up the day-to-day life in low stakes wrestling like this, and the difference between doing wrestling on such a small scale and doing it in the WWE, how the procedures are different in the different worlds. And it does it in a way that is very funny and also very distinctive to Stephen Merchant. The humour feels very twinned with, the things that he was writing with Ricky Gervais in the 2000s in terms of its very character-based, lowbrow humour.
I thought it was generally funny, and I think I like Stephen Merchant a bit more than Ricky Gervais, as a person at least. And those kind of British humour points were definitely shone through. Even when actually The Rock's on the phone and he doesn't believe it's The Rock and he puts it down, that's a nice touch. So that's one of the ways that Nick Frost really sells. He's such a naturally comedic actor that he does it really well.
Can I just jump in when you say The Rock and just ask a question to the group, which is it just me or is this maybe the best, one of the 2 or 3 best performances The Rock has ever given? And I know it's a low bar,
because he's playing himself.
But it also feels like working with Stephen Merchant, who was, of course, managed to get so many good celebrities playing themselves in extras beforehand. Yeah. It feels very much cut from the same cloth. He knows when working with movie stars the best ways in order to get very self-deprecating, genuinely funny performances out of them in just such a small burst. And I don't know, it plays to The Rock's strengths in a way that so many of his just thankless, generic action vehicles that he stars in don't.
I'm trying to think of his performances.
I really don't know what other films. You're going to have to give me some titles.
So his bread and butter is sort of the Fast and Furious movies. So Fast 5 onwards.
It's all about family, you see.
It's all about family. But then, yeah, like something like Pain and Gain, or I'm trying to think of like his more comedic.
I would say something like, so he did like Jungle Cruise, didn't he, with Emily, and what's her name?
Emily Blunt, which I really enjoyed,
bizarrely. And he did Jumanji movies, didn't he? Which again,
yes.
I think when he plays that kind of, I mean, the Jumanji movie, he's kind of taken the mick out of his personality because he's not really playing himself, is he? He's whatever. Again, I'm no wrestling fan, but I find him really charismatic. And that's his whole thing. He's not the world's greatest actor. He's just a really charismatic guy that's quite buff.
Yeah, but so many of his films don't manage to get that charisma out of him, though. And Stephen Merchant manages to do that in a way that is still very good at sort of like taking the piss out of him as this sort of like wrestler.
But I think it does both things. It both allows him to take the piss out of himself, but actually it also is quite genuine. He has some lines when Saraya and her brother are trying to, they meet him, don't they, in the background of the O2 somewhere, and they go, oh, rock, oh, and they keep asking him questions, and he gets more and more pissed off, but he's the consummate professional and he keeps coming back. But then he switches into WWE mode and gives them a bit of advice by shouting at them. And I just thought, yeah, that kind of felt kind of real to me. And that's the bit where I think Merchant's clearly got involved in how to deliver that comically.
I just remembered Ballers, the HBO TV show that he was in, which I initially tolerated, but I actually grew to quite like. And that's where I saw John David Washington for the first time was in that as well. He was quite good in that.
So I'm just looking and I don't...
Struggling.
I don't think I've consciously watched any of his other films. I think I maybe saw Doom when that came out, possibly. Or maybe I didn't. I don't know. This is the only film of his that I've watched consciously, or I remember that I've seen.
I would seriously recommend watching the first Jumanji movie. It is ridiculously good for it's technically the second Jumanji movie, but yeah, it's ridiculously good for what it is. And I avoided it for the longest time and then had the best fun with it. And he's a big part of that. Obviously, you've got to be able to stand Jack Black, which is also can be a challenge, I know.
Well, that's a story for a different time. Should we head to the scores, guys?
I'm Sam Clements, host of the 90 Minutes or Less Film Festival, another podcast in the Stripped Media family, a podcast that celebrates movies under 90 minutes long. Each episode, I'm joined by a special guest who selects a movie to join our prestigious lineup. Past guests have included fellow Stripped Media family members Martin and Sam from Song by Song, and Kobe from Flixwatcher, and Dave from The Wire Stripped. Search for us now on the app you're currently listening to this podcast, or join us at 90minfilmfest.com.
Welcome to our Flixwatcher scores. They are always out of 5. You can have decimal places, and we'll start with you, please, Stephen, with your recommendability.
Okay, well, clearly I recommended this. I'm going to give it a 4.2. I know it's not the greatest film in the world, but I really like what Alistair said about it being comfort food, and I think that's what it is for me.
Alistair?
I will give it a 3.8. Like, it's a very easy film to sort of recommend to people. I just think that the barrier to cross is getting people to just, like, commit to a wrestling movie, because if you're not into that world, you are not into that world whatsoever. You can't be a casual wrestling fan. It's all or nothing. And as someone who's nothing, it took a lot of people telling me to get round to this to, eventually get round to it. And I imagine it would be the same for other people. So all I can do is just say, hey, it's a very good underdog sports comedy. It's one of the best examples in the past 10 years, and hope that people go for it. But if they don't and they don't like wrestling, well, nothing I can say can change their mind. So 3.8.
Helen?
I'm going to go 3.5. I had extremely low expectations going into this, and solely...
You said you watched this before. This is your second time watching?
Yeah, second time watching it. And the first time going into it, it was purely because I wanted to tick some Florence Pugh films off there. And I was pleasantly surprised. It's a sweet little story about a very unusual family. And there's a lot of genuinely funny jokes in there. But there is a lot of wrestling in it. And I think that is the barrier. Norwich and wrestling are the barriers for this. And I think maybe that was what stopped this from being a big success, because I don't really remember hearing much of a buzz about it. And it just kind of feels that, if you're not into it and if you just find wrestling really, really stupid, you're probably not going to give it the time that it would if it was a different sport, I think.
I mean, it's huge wrestling though, so I'm sure. Well, I'm going to give my score. I'm going to go for a 4. I'm going to be one of those people telling Alistair to go, yeah, go and watch it. Go and watch it. One of the main, when you're looking at a sports film and when you're looking at a film or a subject matter you don't care about, is whether you can get over yourself and enjoy the film once you're there. And I think, I've watched the F1 film recently. I don't give a shit about F1, but really enjoyed the film. That's just like a recent example. And this is a film, you know exactly what's going to happen. And maybe you didn't know or not whether one of them would get into the WWE or not. I knew going into what happened there, but then you know that once she gets there, she's going to fail, and then she's going to get up, and then she's going to succeed, and everyone's going to be happy, and then everyone's going to be all happy as Larry. And like you said, with the comfort food thing, you just want those films where you can just go, yeah, I know what's going to happen. This is fine. This is all good. 4. Repeat viewing score. Stephen.
I'm not sure that this is a movie I could hand on heart say I'd watch it over and over and over again. I'm not going to go and buy it on DVD and keep it at the top of my giant imposing tower of things that I need to watch.
Man dies by DVDs falling on head.
Yeah, exactly. And even though I picked it, and it's not the first time I've watched it, and I've watched it again because it's Florence Pugh, I'm going to give this a 3.5. I think I will watch it again, but there will have to be something to force me down there, maybe like a Florence Pugh marathon that's going on. It certainly won't be in my wrestling films marathon.
Alistair.
So in terms of rewatchability, I will differ a bit and say that I think it is actually quite rewatchable. I mean, I'm not sure if this rewatch helped because I just hadn't really thought about it in the years since I watched it in the first place, even though I was charmed on my first viewing. But this is a film that if it showed up on TV and like a weekend afternoon, I could just, in any place in the movie, just be able to sit down and lock into it, which I feel like is more of a test of rewatchability rather than like, would I consciously choose to rewatch it again, especially at home. So yeah, I think for rewatchability, I'm going for it. It's an easy breezy watch.
Is it 4? Was that?
Yeah, 4.
Helen.
Yeah, it's kind of got like ITV3 vibes, hasn't it?
Yeah.
I don't know if ITV3 is still a thing.
It's not that bad. Nothing on it, come on.
Hot Fuzz is on ITV3 all the time. Like, that's what I'm talking about. Or maybe I should think Nick Frost films are on ITV3.
Is it the kind of movie that if it was on over Christmas and you were stuck with your family, you might put on something like that, yeah.
Take a break from fighting with your family to watch fighting.
Yeah. Yeah, it's an hour 48, so it's just over 90 minutes. It's an easy breezy watch. I probably wouldn't have watched it again had you not suggested it. I kind of got what I needed it from the first time, but yes, it's fairly harmless, so I'm going to give it a 3.
Yeah, I'm not sure I'm going to watch it again, but I wouldn't say no to it. Was it you, Alistair, that said if it's on an afternoon? And we keep painting these scenarios, but this doesn't really happen anymore because you kind of know what you're going to watch because you put it on to watch it. You don't just turn the TV on to see what's on anymore.
Yeah, and come to think of it, this might have too many boner jokes to be on TV in the afternoon.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, what is the right amount of boner jokes? Like,
yeah,
is there
a pre-watershed friendly boner joke? That's what we need from this movie.
No, Grandma, he said banana.
Yeah, I'd go for 3 because I wouldn't say no to watching it again, but I don't think it'll be like, oh shit, I need to watch it again. But I was pleased that you selected it, so that's good. Small screen score.
I think this is actually made for the small screen. It's not particularly cinematic.
What do you mean? The vistas of the O2 must have thought, made you think I need to see it on 3D 4DX.
And the beaches of wherever in America they were, yeah. No, I would happily watch this on my iPad. I'd happily watch this on my little bedroom TV. In fact, I did. And it's better than a TV movie. It's better than a straight to DVD or an aeroplane movie. But yeah, I think the right place for it is on Netflix, actually. Oh, I'm going to give that a 5 for that.
Alistair.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty much agreeing with everything that was said there because, I mean, yeah, this doesn't feel cinematic at all. I don't think that Stephen Merchant is a director who's, really focused on that so much as he is focused on, making sure that all, the comic timing is perfect and getting the best comedic performances from his actors. I don't think he's a director really focused on, the visual sensibility of a unfilmed Stephen Merchant. But yeah, again, it slots very well watching at home. It feels tailor-made for it. As much as I wish that, I could have seen those beautiful Norwich landscapes, seen Norwich Market on the big screen.
They had that one place in the hill, didn't they, that they went to with a bench?
To be fair, that was a very pretty backdrop. But I don't think my life would have been particularly different if I'd seen it on the big screen to the small. So yeah, I will say for a small screen, it's a 4 out of 5.
Helen.
Yeah, I mean, this is absolutely not made for TV, but perfect for TV. So I'm going to give it a 5 for its small screen. I would not have gone to see this at the cinema.
Same, but I would have seen it at the cinema. If I knew when it came out and I knew the story. And in my cinema days where I go and see 2 or 3 films on a Saturday, then I probably would have made sure to tag this one in. But yeah, it's absolutely perfect for Netflix. Engagement score, Stephen.
Again, watched this before. I didn't doom scroll. I didn't go and do anything else. I watched it from beginning to end. And also I watched it on one of the hottest fucking days of the year where I could barely keep the sweat out of my eyes in my flat, which seems to make everything even hotter. So yes, it felt like I was watching it on the equator. I managed to see it through beginning to end. As Helen says, it's not like a 3-hour epic having to sit through. But yeah, I was engaged because of the personalities, right? Because of Florence Pugh, because of Nick Frost, who actually isn't somebody I particularly think is a great actor, but he's a charming personality, and pretty much everybody else. And even Vince Vaughn wasn't too big a prick. So I find him insufferable often, but he was fine in this. So yeah, I'll give it a 4.
Alistair.
I will say that just because of how the conventions of this genre work, there are parts in the middle when she's, initially in the training program in Florida where my attention did start to lag because it, just knowing the beats of an underdog sports story, you just know, right, this is the part where she's going to quit. She doesn't think that she's good enough. And then she's going to turn around and get to the top of the game. So there's just a part in the middle of the story just where the comedy takes a back seat to just the beats of the story, and I did become less engaged during that point. But I mean, outside of that, yeah, it is very much a personality-driven film. It's very much a joke-driven film, and that holds my attention, despite the fact that it is very much it's working to a formula. So I'm going to give it a 3.5.
Helen.
Just on Vince Vaughn, I kind of got the impression that he just collected his paycheck on this one. Yeah, I mean, the light went out a long time, and Vince Vaughn, I would probably say.
You watched Bad Monkey, he's really good in that.
Bad Monkey?
Yeah.
Does he play Monkey?
No, it's a TV show on...
Oh, I don't have time for TV.
What do you do? It's too much cricket watching.
Watch films.
I would watch him playing a bad monkey, though. I'm now quite sad that's not what it is.
Just too many films to watch. Just don't have time for TV. Engagement. I mean, yeah. I mean, there's not really any great surprises in this one, but it zips along fairly nicely. All the things that happen, you expect them to happen. So yeah, I'll go with you, Alistair, and join the 3.5 club.
It's a great club.
Engagement. Comfort watchers don't need the engagement. That's part of why they're comfort watchers. You can just... It's not quite a napper, which someone brought to us quite early on, where you can put the film on, you can light it to fall asleep, and then you're going to wake up and get to pick up in a place where you're like, yep, let's just carry on. No need to rewind. I'm happy. 3.2. And that gives us an overall score of 3.76250. About right. I believe we had some scores or opinions.
We did indeed.
Everyone, do follow us on social media. In particular, do follow us on Instagram, because we do put out posts talking about the films we're about to review, and look up for a post that says something similar to, we're reviewing Fighting With My Family with retro__1971. By the way, these double underscore things that people do, I imagine the amount of times people just put one underscore and they don't find you. What's with the double?
Well, basically, I'm 54 years old. I don't use Instagram, mate. And I wanted to do retro 1971 because that's the year I was born, and somebody had already taken it. So I just did double underscore. And yeah, if you follow me on Instagram, all you'll see is photos of old computers from the 1980s. You're probably right. I'm probably missing out on 1 million cam girls that want to follow me.
Yeah. From Asian Cinema Club. And yes, it's Alistair. Have you seen it? Tell us your thoughts and a star rating for a shout out. So we had a few responses. Alistair and Stephen, do you want to take one each?
So yeah, the first response that received on the Instagram was Hogan Shogun. Read, really enjoyed this one. Never saw the documentary, so went in as I liked the cast and thought would be a fun film, and that's exactly what I got. When it came, it felt like we hadn't had a proper family film that wasn't animation or something naff. So I'd pretty much agree with that one. Yeah, it's a fun film, and it does what it says on the tin.
We went back and said how many stars. If you do leave a review and you don't leave any stars, we will ask you to confirm how many stars. It is important. And she confirmed 3 stars. A solid 3.
I can't help thinking Hogan Shogun is somebody I should know, being Shogun and Asian cinema and all that. So, but I don't.
And the next one?
The podcast that nobody asked for, who I do know, a lot of heart and some fantastic performances, but my main memory of the film would always be going to an early screening and hearing someone sincerely argue if a sofa with a cow print pattern on it was vegetarian. 4 championship belts out of 5.
Well, there's like a hotel in London that often hosts like lots of pre-release press screenings, and I think that must be where they saw that film with the cow print sofa, because every time I'm there I'm just like, that is an ugly sofa. I'm lucky that I get to see this film in advance, but why is this the furniture that we're using in this room?
So is it like a Frisian cow, kind of black and white cow?
Yeah, I'd say more like a Highland cow. It's like a Highland cow, yeah.
I mean, I'm going to say my oldest daughter, she was a vegetarian for the longest time, is obsessed with cow print and things like that. So she absolutely would have a sofa that is cow print. There we go, that's taken a turn. Elwood Jones 99, my co-host from the Asian Cinema Film Club, has done a classic Elwood thing. Hello, Elwood. Knowing what scumbags the family are being named in the wrestling Me Too movement, it was hard to care about this film. So I don't know what's going on in the wrestling Me Too movement. He has linked to a Reddit, which I'm not going to go to. But yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
But if you want to seem less like a scumbag, get Nick Frost and Lena Headey to play you, and then you'll just be like lovable, quirky parents.
Yeah, and to be fair, we do get clips of them in the closing credits, which I'm guessing is from the documentary, where we can see a bit more like what they're really like.
Yeah.
It's sort of glossed over in a brief sort of sentence that the mum was in quite a dark place prior to meeting Nick, so I imagine that there's probably a lot of that still in the background, quite possibly, but I haven't seen the doc and I don't know them, so I would need to check out the Reddits.
She was apparently unknowingly 7 months pregnant and still wrestling, which, as somebody who's had children, not actually been pregnant, but I find that astonishing.
Alistair, Stephen, thank you so much for joining us. Please do tell everyone where we can find you online, and then we'll say goodbye to the listeners.
As already mentioned, you can find me on Instagram at retro__1971, but much better place to find me is on Letterboxd, where I am known as Guelo Ramblings. That's GWEILO Ramblings, no underscores at all. Or just find the podcasts on your podcast service, the Asian Cinema Film Club.
And you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Yes, It's Alistair. Alistair spelt the correct way, which is ALISTAIR. And I'm also on Letterboxd, Alistair Ryder. Again, Alistair spelt the correct way. Don't be spelling ALASTAIR. That's not how you spell it. It's ALISTAIR. That's my hill to die on. Follow me there.
As a Stephen with a PH, I fully hear you, man.
Is the PH the proper way? We'll knock it
Too
down.
bloody right it is. I'm not a Steve.
Cheers, guys. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
Bye.
Enjoyed this episode of Flixwatcher podcast? Why not leave us a 5-star review on iTunes? You can also follow us at FlixWatcherPod on Twitter, and we're at FlixWatcher on Instagram. Thanks as always to the mighty people for their mighty, mighty tunes and Rockwood Audio's editing skills. If you're looking to get your podcast edited as sweet as this, get in touch with Rockwood, ROKK Wood Audio. Tell them Flixwatcher sent you.
You just heard a Stripped Media production.